the California Raisin Mystery. Hey guys, I am Bart Baggett. I'm a forensic handwriting expert. You guys probably know me as the president and founder of Handwriting University. This is such an interesting case, and this case was brought to me by a podcast called UnderUnderstood, which is a very popular podcast. And they reached out to me and said, look, we've got this case. We're doing this story, and we think it's interesting enough to be the season premiere of the podcast. Could you help us solve this mystery? So on your screen is a postcard. So here's what happened. This guy named Jasper, or we call him Jacob, began getting these mysterious memorabilia from the California Raisin Fan Club. Now, if you didn't know that the California Raisin had a fan club, it's okay, because it's not been around for a long time. So to punk their friend Jacob, somebody signed him up for the Raisin Fan Club. Now, this is not life or death. This is not millions of dollars, but this is kind of funny. Kind of one of those pranks I might do on my friends. So he began getting membership cards. He began getting postcards. He even got a handwritten letter from the president of the California Raisin Fan Club that he didn't sign up for. Oh my God. See, I love podcasts like this. I think it's nice to have a refreshing, playful story instead of a bunch of dead bodies all the time. I know true crime podcasts are the rage, but this is a true crime podcast with no dead body. So look on your screen. I've actually put full color images of the things they sent me to solve this mystery. And what's interesting is John, the producer of the show, said, Bart, I'm pretty sure we've solved this. We have handwriting samples of all the suspects, and it's one dude. We feel like for certain it's one guy punking his friend Jacob. And he said, but we really need your confirmation because we're a serious news organization doing fun stories. But nonetheless, they wanted to get it right? So I said, John, I'll help you send over the information. He sends me these color postcards. And so what's interesting is the way we do documents in the forensic industry is we kind of separate them into, these are the known handwriting samples of the suspect, and this is the document in question. So in this case, the document in question is, of course, all the handwriting samples, the membership card, Jasper McQuaid, his name is Jasper. So these are sort of separated into K, meaning this is, we know this person wrote these, and Qs. And the weird thing about this case, after we got them all labeled up, is there wasn't just one suspect. There was more than one suspect. But he said, no, we talked to the guy. He denied it, but he snickered. Oh, I would never do that to Jacob. I never signed him up for the Raisin Fan Club, but he laughed. He's like, I think he did it. And so you look at the samples. Go with me. On this page or a link under this video, I put the whole samples on the page so you can do the work at home. Do you think this suspect is the guy that signed him up for the California Raisin Fan Club? I'll go through some of the things that I went through and kind of do the analysis with you. So look at the first thing. This is called the Q1. So this is the postcard that is most in question. When we find the writer of this postcard, we will find the writer of who signed him up for the California Raisin Fan Club. So the suspect in this case is a dude named Evan. Now, Evan, he knows Jacob, but Evan denies it. He even got a call from a podcast producer, and he said, no, that's pretty funny, but I didn't write those postcards. And a few days later, another postcard showed up. So is Evan the prankster, or is he not? And when I talked to the producer, he was pretty convinced that Evan was the author of these postcards. So I did my work. I analyzed the writing, and I'll show you what we're looking at here. His Q1 is the postcard in question. We find out who wrote the Allie and Jacob postcard. We'll do it. Now, there's no problem. This is block printing. Block printing is a little bit harder, not impossible, but a little bit harder than cursive printing. And then we have what we call the K documents, which is kind of the known writing. And then we have, I think, is an S document. So you look at the postcard with the big dancing raisin. Love this. It's signed Ruthie Potes. Aloha, Jasper. We've heard it through the grapevine that you are our newest raisin. Wishing you a big mahalo from Hawaiian chapter from the Big Prune. I just love the sense of humor in all this because they're obviously writing as raisins themselves. K6.1 is signed Chandra Patel, and she says, bonded as brothers are our deep love of raisins of California. It is with great anticipation that I wait your acquaintance at the grape ceremony. I mean, it is full of puns. If you like puns, which my friend Carl, he loves puns at his stand-up. Not my favorite thing, the puns, but the other handwriting sample has no signature. Maybe it says the word herb chin, H-E-R, or is it herb chew? Herb chew. I guess herb or chew or herb chew. Anyway, you can look at it yourself. It's called K2.1 in the documents. Is this the same person or this is a different person? And then it says playing with your food. I look forward to meeting you at all the great raisin events. Bummer about Denise, am I right? Must be an inside raisin joke. I don't get that. You'll get a chuckle on the front. So how do you handle this? So even though this is fun and playful, even a silly raisin, I approach it the same way we approach our $1 million cases. We sort for the question document. Our opinion that the judge is going to rely on is the word, did the writer of this known handwriting author the question document? In this case, did the writer named Evan write the postcard in question?
And of course, the reporter gave me this postcard and a whole bunch of other postcards just kind of randomly scattered around. And the question was, who did it? Which one matches the writing? And so the way that you would do this is you'd organize them in some sort of fashion where you have something labeled as the questioned and something as the known writing, etc. In this case, we really only had one known writing and a bunch of questions. And so what I did was I took those different postcards, I laid them out in a PDF file like this. And so what you've got is kind of what they call a side-by-side. And so I cut some of the letters and the numbers really big. Like, for example, in this first one, the 7 has a cross in the middle, so that looks similar. However, it doesn't have the little dash at the bottom, so it's kind of a difference. The 2s, those look kind of similar, and then the 7s look kind of similar. However, the 5s are different, and that's the way you do it. Kind of go step by step to see if the similarities outweigh the differences. I think it's really kind of obvious on this last one. This is a suspect postcard. I called it K6, K is for known, and you'll see that handwriting is really unique. And if you get up close, you can see that the 6s, the 9s, they're profoundly different. This writer actually has a very unique letter A, like an ampersand A, as well as a very unique letter D. So when you get up really close, it seems pretty clear that this is a different writer than the question document, which of course is the postcard like that. So that one seems pretty simple. Okay, definitely didn't write that one, but we know this guy, that is his writing, right? So we're comparing each one. And so I did this side by side, and to me it was fairly obvious that some of these postcards were just not written by that guy. Notice the capital A here is profoundly different. And I say profoundly, it's definitely different, the shapes. And then of course the 6s, and here you have the 6s here, the A's, the L, the number 5. You can do a side-by-side comparison for each one of those. So here's like the letter G. To me, that's a different letter form. It's a technical word. The 6s have a little bit of different width and size and height. And so you very quickly eliminate a number of these postcards being the same writer. This one's probably the most similar. This particular person who wrote this postcard, which I'm calling K2, there is an inherent problem comparing block printing to regular printing and or upper lowercase or cursive. It's not really the ideal scenario. You do see that the 4250 is very, very similar in structure. The T in Corinth is a lowercase t here, and then we have a printing there. That's going to happen with printing versus cursive. So ideally, we would have had more handwriting sample from this suspect and have asked him to write in upper and lowercase and cursive. But with most cases, you don't always get the highest quality evidence, so sometimes it comes down to being inconclusive, pending more evidence. But of all the writers, this one's the closest to that as far as some letter forms. Some individual letters are very similar, but some of the letters, like this big G in the lowercase, of course, you're not going to get from a capital writer. So if anybody, he may have written this one, but these other postcards were definitely not written by the person they think it was written by. As a side note, this was part of the package, but a scribbly signature alone doesn't really help much when we're comparing block letters. But it's kind of an interesting story, and I like the logo and the letterhead.
In this case, did the writer named Evan write the postcard in question? And the producer was absolutely sure. So when I wrote him a note and I said, hey, I got to tell you something. I don't think Evan's the author of all these postcards. He said, what? Really? And I said, no, I think multiple people wrote these postcards. And so it might have been Evan on one of them, but Evan has got a lot of people in on this gag. And he was like, oh no, that changes our whole story. We've got to go to the recording studio a couple of days. What do we do? So he basically went and re-interviewed Evan and the suspects. And so how did it turn out? Well, there's a link below to the Understood podcast, and it kind of explains the whole great raisin mystery. And at the very last, you'll hear my words and wisdom of who really done it. And I'll give you a hint. It wasn't just Evan. Ooh, who was it? Hey, it's really fun doing light, fun stories like this. You know, every day we've got cases with $1 million, with estates on the line, with criminals going to jail for forgery, for trying to steal some estates. I had 2 calls in the last week from private detectives wanting to put someone in jail because of a letter I wrote. You know what? I don't feel bad. Don't write a fake will and try to steal your friend's property. You get to go to jail. I've got no sympathy. See, I did have sympathy, but I took my sympathy gland out when I was 7. I don't have it anymore. Not a problem. I still have empathy, which is a different gland. It's right next to the sympathy gland. You guys know biology. I don't have to tell you that. Anyway, this has been fun. My name is Bart Baggett. It's a light, fun article. I hope you check out the handwriting samples. I've included them here. Go to the website, UnderUnderstood.com. Look for an episode called the California Raisin Mystery, and I think you can kind of discover for yourself who punked Jasper/Jacob. Why is it that Jasper is short for Jacob? Why is it that Bob is short for Robert? Why is it that Bill is short for William? These are mysteries that keep me up at night. My name is Bart Baggett. Hit the subscribe and like button if you like this channel. We have a podcast called The World's Most Interesting People. Check out the different YouTubes. Just Google my name. We have a number of channels, including the Handwriting University channel. We have a forensic document examining school with videos like this, as well, of course, as any of my books on Amazon. My name is Bart Baggett. Hope you enjoyed this little raisin mystery tidbit. And I'm off to have a snack. Made myself hungry. Have a good day.